Welcome, everyone. Welcome to SolarConnect Session 3. I am Rebecca Taylor, Head of Marketing at Enerflo, and thank you so much for joining. Today, we have Spencer Oberon, Enerflo co-founder and CRO, who's joined by panelists Samuel Kenny from Get Green Leads and Josh Levine from Energy Sage. And with that, we'll hand it over to Spencer to get things started.
Thanks, Rebecca, also known as Enerflo Webinars. I really like the backgrounds. It feels like I'm in the Matrix a little bit. Like I haven't decided if I'm going to take the red or the green pill or the blue pill. I think I'm going to go rally cap, guys. We're talking leads, so I'm going to kind of get in here, get feisty with it.
Love it. Wish I had a patty cap.
Yes, Josh. Well, that's something, Sam, that we do in America. We have ball caps, and we wear them in different styles, backwards, forwards. I don't know if you guys do that in Ireland, but we do it here.
Not as much as you guys. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's cool. Like we'll send you one backwards.
over. I turned it around backwards, but then I'd lose my branding. So
no, it's great.
Clever.
Yeah, no, this is rally cap for sure. Guys, as we start this, I'd love the audience to get to know you a little bit better. So I think people, for better or worse, know who I am that are on here. Spencer, co-founder of Enerflo, and I want to start with you, Sam, also known as Samuel. But why don't you just give us a quick background, Sam, of where you're coming from, who you are, that kind of stuff, and then we'll jump to Josh.
Yeah, 100%. So I'm Sam, founder of Get Green Leads, and we're set up in Ireland, but 90% of our companies are in the States. Actually, you guys have the better financing options, PPA, the loans. But yeah, we're seeing from a paid ad standpoint, a lot of shift towards trust and everything with kind of AI coming into the picture now. Images are AI generated, videos are AI generated. So yeah, what we're seeing is that as we go further into this, we're kind of shifting over towards, yes, the offers matter and that side of it really matters. But off the back of any offer, you really need to have that kind of founder story, video explaining, and then trust. And that's what'll get people over the line at the end.
Cool. So you're based out of Ireland. How long have you guys been doing solar leads?
We've been doing just solar leads for 3 years. If you're really going to excel at something, you have to just lock into exactly that. So that's how it's been.
I like that. And you said 90% of your clientele are based in the US.
Yeah. We got Canada, UK, Ireland, and Australia as well. But yeah,
depending on who you talk to, Canada's a separate country or it's the 51st state. It's kind of up to debate right now.
No comments.
No, it's just
they don't have the bill.
Leaning into a little political humor here to stir the pot. Josh, if you give us a quick intro on who you are and who you're with and whatnot, that'd be awesome.
Sounds good. Josh Levine. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer here at Energy Sage. We are, as those of you who know us, Energy Sage is a bit of a different beast in the solar industry as far as lead generation goes. We don't typically sell our leads. We connect our leads to installers that we work with in our marketplace. We have hundreds of installers across the U.S. Who have been on our platform for anywhere from 6 months to 10 years. We have new installers signing up with us all the time. So we are, kind of weathering the storm right now, if you will, of, kind of post-ITC, the post-ITC environment here in the U.S. But we sort of continue on with the business that we have been in for 10 years and have been expanding our offerings to other adjacent home electrification categories and connecting high intent leads to installers for other products in addition to solar.
That's awesome. I remember seeing Energy Sage for the first time. I don't know if it was 2013, but probably 2014. I was knocking doors for Vivint Solar back in the day. I remember coming across, because I was like trying to research a few things, and remember Energy Sage coming up, and I was like, oh, this is a good idea. And then it just kept going and blew up, and you guys are a mainstay in the industry. So great to have you on. I like to have, we have two separate companies on. Energy Sage fits a different part of the market. And Sam, your company fits another side, more of the traditional, like, let's generate leads for our installers. Let's partner with them. Let's be, and I like your guys' kind of your ethos where, like, let's partner with them. Let's help them grow, transparency. And then Josh, you just kind of elaborated on what you guys do. So two separate perspectives, and I'll have some of my own. So let's jump into this, though. It's one of my favorite questions to ask. And you guys can pick who wants to go first, just whoever's most excited about it. But I want to ask both of you to take a minute or two to catch us up to speed, all the listeners, on the state of the lead industry, good, bad, and ugly, right? What you've kind of seen this year, what you're kind of expecting next year, but maybe some of the trends that are changing, whatever you want to, but just take 2 to 5 minutes each of you and let us soak up some of your high-level knowledge.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Happy to take that one first. I think everything starts with the backdrop of what is going on with the consumer. Right. And I think, if I look at where we are right now today, my explanation or my interpretation of the moment that we are in is we are living with the hangover of a massive amount of pull forward that just happened. Right. Consumer demand, no surprise, consumer demand spiked this summer, starting in July, even a little earlier, starting in June. Was massively high from everything we were seeing through the month of September, and through the month of October, things started to cool as consumers as everyone who was high intent now or going to be high intent over the next 6 to 9 months quickly became high intent in the summer months. And so we have massively pulled forward that volume, and that's gonna be the backdrop for everything for this quarter, and I think for much of Q1. Overlay that with normal seasonality, and it's a quiet period. Still, certainly consumer demand out there. Actually, what we're seeing is indications that the consumer leads that we are generating are actually higher intent, because they were not so dependent on the ITC or are aware of kind of other headwinds for solar, but they tend to be higher intent. They're harder to find and they're more expensive, but they seem to be higher intent than ever before. So there's
Josh,
good indicator.
I think I think everybody would probably say, oh, that the increase of intent, the urgency was all created by the big, beautiful bill. But it also probably started a little bit before that. Are there any other key indicators or things you guys were seeing that's creating urgency? Because as big, beautiful bill drops off, I mean, that urgency, the bill's there, but the urgency that created for loans specifically, what's kind of the urgency that's continuing to stay and that we'll continue to see from your perspective?
Yeah, I think candidly, it's early days of the other side of this, because what we're not yet seeing the folks who would naturally have been interested in 26, if you will, right? We are all those people got pulled into 25. So the lead generation, sort of what messages are resonating are starting to shift from sort of purely about savings and tax credits and urgency to more resiliency and energy independence. Everybody likes to think about trying to free themselves from their utility. So there are indications that all of the other reasons that people go solar, so many of them still exist, including high intent interest, high interest in battery attachment. So that is still happening. We have not yet been able to sort of discern the signal from the noise, if you will, of what high intent, TPO leads are going to be in 2026. Like we expect a huge shift to TPO, but no one is in fact actually a TPO lead. They are sort of a solar lead that sort of post lead sign up. We sell, they can be sold into a TPO product, or they find that a TPO product is better for them. Usually not a sort of strict TPO lead. Right.
Yeah, that's good to know. How is your
Yeah.
what is your data saying when it comes to um what we're seeing the first half of the year? I mean, obviously, first half of the year we're gonna have less leads than we're seeing in second half of the year because of the big beautiful bill. But let's go back a year prior. So 2024, is lead volume the same? Is it more? Is it less? And then after you answer that question, what do you think if you were to project based on the limited data that you have, what would you expect for 26?
Yeah. Q4 lead volume. So first of all, we do a lot of our demand generation from organic, right? And so it really is kind of a measure of what does natural demand in the market look like. We do some indexing of search volume, and so natural demand or organic demand, I should say, for solar in the market uh, is incredibly low right now, right? Lower than a year ago, lower than in years past. Now, just 4 weeks ago, by middle of October, things were still very high and significantly up year on year. But the transition, sort of post Halloween up here in the colder markets, people's mindset shifts away, seasonality kicks in, and people are looking at, the mental benchmark is about 90 days to get solar installed, and when people know that they're inside of 45 days or nearly inside of 45
Yeah.
days,
Moves it.
they're crossing it off their list for 2025.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, um, you know, hard to project what 2026 looks like. I do expect though that natural demand will start to return again around March, like it often does. But I expect January and February to be pretty soft.
Cool. Sam, same question.
Yeah, I'll let Josh, like Josh has the expertise on the Google side of it. In terms of a paid ad side of it, um, obviously the last year has been, well, up until a month ago, um, or sorry, for the first 10 months of the year was just incentives, incentives, incentives. So I'd say people are happy to not be seeing that constantly. But yeah, obviously that was the big play, and rightly so. Um, and now leading into 2026, what we're seeing is, I thought it interesting that you said there's not really TPO leads, but our data is showing that um, if you actually market specifically for that, so it takes a bit of the confusion away from the whole offer. It's we're marketing specific landing pages for TPOs. So the marketing on the front end is TPO, the conversion landing page is TPO, and then the messaging they get after is TPO. So one of the issues has been for us on a marketing side of things, it's like that disconnect from marketing to what they actually see on the website and the landing page. People see, yeah, a kind of more generic ad, and then they'll go in and it's more generic landing page. So yeah, what we're seeing is that kind of clarity is helping a lot for kind of the paid ad side of it.
Do you feel like you have to do more education or less education with TPO than you had to do with loans?
Well, you don't need to go into detail about the TPO. You just sell the TPO, right? So instead, it's
Like, give us an example.
right. So the header would be like save up to 80%, um, and like straight away it's it's not geared anything towards like the cash offer. Loan would be similar enough marketing, but um, yeah, you can really just hone in on what exactly they would get from the TPO, and then obviously you take away the ownership side of it and that stuff.
Do you find that people, I mean, when I was selling door to door, and this is ages ago now, but like it was people wanted to own their systems.
Mhm.
Um, but obviously TPO is very popular because it's the easiest thing to sell. It's like, this is your rate today. I can give you this rate. Do you want it? And it's really simple.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a completely different angle. Yeah.
do you find though that people still want to own? Is that demand still there, or is people are like, I don't care who owns it, I just want a cheaper bill?
That's that's exactly like the marketing on the front end, right? So what message are you putting out there at the start? So the messaging has to be like how bad the energy bills are currently and that side of it. And then when you're hitting that pain point, people come in into the funnel and into the conversation like, yeah, I'm just looking to drop if I can drop my bill by 50%, perfect. And obviously, it's a bit of a no-brainer when you look at it like that.
That's cool.
So yeah, it's just hitting that angle.
Josh, on the kind of the same question, I mean, when you guys are, because you have data on the articles that your people get, I'm seeing your articles everywhere, by the way. When I go and I see something like according to Energy Sage, and I'm seeing them on all these different news sites, I'm like, what the crap? These people are everywhere. Do you see people are engaging more with the TPO type of content, or are they still wanting to? No, I'm a prepper. I want to own my own stuff. Like, go away.
Yeah. Um, People are certainly engaging with the TPO content more. I wouldn't say that the search volume is specifically is incredibly high. And I'll connect it maybe back to something Sam said just a moment ago, which is when I say there aren't necessarily like TPO leads, what I mean by that is there are people who are looking to save. There are people who are looking kind of for the end benefits of TPO, if you will. There are very few people who say, I want a solar lease, right?
Yeah.
But there are people who say, yes, I want to save energy. Yes, I want to cut my electricity bills, my insane electricity bills, all of that. So there are leads for the end benefits of the TPO versus sort of marketing or messaging a lease or a PPA, right?
Yeah.
That is a much more complicated conversation that we move down the funnel, right? Sort of after lead capture. But talking about the benefits of a TPO, for example, is very relevant. So I'd kind
Yeah.
of
I
second
like
what
the two different
Sam said.
perspectives
Yeah.
because Sam, yours is more like selling
Yeah,
solar
exactly.
TPO, right? And
Yeah,
Josh, Energy Sage is like people people are buying it. The people that are buying solar, and there are two
yeah,
different concepts and for people to on the
100%.
call to understand this concept. And probably everyone does, but I'll just talk about German chocolate cake for a second because I love German chocolate cake. As long as it's moist and good. If it's not, toss it. Um,
German.
but Sam, do they have German chocolate cake in Ireland? Is
Is
that
that
a
just fudge cake? Is that just
just
like
no, no, it's complete.
German
It's
chocolate
German.
cake?
It's
I
German.
actually used to live in Berlin, so it's
Okay,
weird that
maybe
I
it's
don't know
not.
that.
Maybe it's just something
Yeah,
like we call them French fries, but they're just fries.
yeah, yeah, something like
Um,
that.
yeah, so like I love German chocolate cake. And but I don't love it enough for me to search online right now, find a restaurant to buy it to then DoorDash it to me. So I would be buying German chocolate cake. But if somebody knocked on my door right now and had a fresh German chocolate cake, I'd buy it from them and I'd eat it, right? And so I would say that like Sam, the market you're going after is the people that like you're selling me the German chocolate cake. And Josh, the people
Exactly,
that
yeah.
you probably engage more with are like, I really want this. Who's the best one? Who's got the best recipe, right? So it's a unique take that you both have, and I like the concepts there.
Yeah.
Um,
I would just I would concur with that, which is, sort of, but there are fewer of those people right now who are saying, I want to go
yeah,
find chocolate cake. So I can certainly say our channel mix has shifted, right? We need to meet people where they are versus looking for them to come to us all the time. So that certainly affected our channel mix and sort of how we've invested, and therefore, kind of the message is a little bit more is much more proactive and eye-catching, if you will, than sort of the research-minded search orientation.
yeah. Not to belabor this point, but I wanted just this is one of the questions that we had thought of before. But like, so we have search terms, right? Whether it's Energy Sage and I'm buying stuff, or Sam, you're selling me stuff, we're searching for certain things. There's keywords, key phrases, right? Have those changed in the last year? Are they different now? Are people searching more for batteries now? Are they searching more for whole home solutions? Or is it just solar? Like, what are you guys seeing?
I can kick off if you'd like.
Go ahead.
Um,
Good.
yeah, I think it's been savings for the last year, but we're definitely seeing a shift towards the energy independent side of it, 100%. And especially with, I know we talked about AI earlier in the sense of like the videos and everything people are seeing, but on the other side of that is people are scared of how much these energy bills could actually rise due to AI, due to data centers. So, in terms of hooks that we're using, that one, yeah, really draws people in because they've probably used ChatGPT twice that day, and then they're like, oh, it actually makes a lot of sense how much power this is going to use. It would be good to be energy independent. So, yeah, we're definitely seeing a shift. It's still savings, like savings, and is the key search, but energy independence is growing. And I also think it's quite funny that you'll see from like marketing through to qualification. On the marketing side, people are reacting with the savings and everything like that. And then when you ask them why they're actually looking to go solar, they'll say like, yeah, climate reasons and stuff like that. So there is a bit of a, it's nearly like they're lying to themselves through the process, or just, yeah, trying to look better at the end of it. But yeah, energy independence is definitely on the rise.
Josh, would you like concur on that, or is there anything other color you would add from your perspective?
Yeah, I would concur with that. The other thing I would add is we're seeing a lot of we're seeing a significant growth in sort of percentage of search queries that involve local. So
Mm,
like a real focus on
interesting.
on local, on supporting small businesses in their community, things like that. I would posit that it's connected to some of the really high profile bankruptcies that have happened over the last 18 months. And potentially, horror stories from some of their neighbors around these things. But local has been key,
Yeah,
a key change this year.
that's a really good insight. Just to corroborate on that, we've seen the same thing on the Enerflo side from the data that we have, as that consumers, sales orgs, even installers themselves. We have installers that are intentionally shrinking their footprint for operational efficiency, but also to be like, hey, we're going to crush these 1 to 4, 3 markets, right? This is what we're going to destroy. Because people are finding that it's relationship based. So relationships with the AHJs, with your permitters, with your install crews. Can you be on the ground with them? Can you, and then as they do that, there's from the installer side, there's from what we are seeing, better culture, better pull-through rate, more efficiency. Same with sales. Like if the sales companies are, in close proximity and it's regional based. But then on the flip side, though, when it comes to virtual campaigns, like with what we've got partners that use like a Project Solar, or with Project Solar. We've got partners like with not Artemis, but Mona Lee, and others. We have a tool. And so there's groups that also get jobs from Energy Sage, right, from you guys, and they're seeing this regional hook, I guess you would say. Like a consumer's like, hey, I want to be able to talk to Bob, and when I have a problem, I want to know who to call, and I drive to their shop and get that. As things becoming more and more decentralized, I think there's kind of this natural pushback to centralize some of our stuff with getting back to those relationships and things. And so I think that's actually really unique insight that you're seeing there, and we can kind of add on to that. So that's
I
cool.
would, yeah, I would connect that with, there's nothing more powerful than the recommendation of your next door neighbor, your best friend, someone else you trust in town. That's when you have direct connection to a customer, not just, sort of reading testimonials online or reviews online. I think we've all recognized that we're in this world where online reviews are just fraught with garbage and nonsense and fraud and everything else. So having real humans, to be able to testify to the quality of the crew, the quality of the workmanship is more important than ever.
Yeah, well, Josh, you bring up the point about basically referrals, right? And tapping into that. What are you guys seeing, and what are you guys doing to tap into referrals? And then we'll jump to there to saying what should installers be doing? Because if we look at historically, as from my perspective now, add any insights that you guys have that are different, but the highest converting lead is a referral. Historically, would you guys say that that's still accurate?
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
usually yes. Yep.
Usually,
Sorry,
yes. Okay. Well, maybe we'll get into some nuance if we have time. But
Yeah.
so let's say for sake of conversation, referrals from someone who's received an install, had a good experience with that installer, that person probably converts at a very high or the highest rate.
Yeah, definitely.
And so, what are you guys seeing and doing about referrals? Let's start there, and then we'll talk about what installers should probably be thinking about, and even sales orgs.
Sam, you want to go?
Yeah, I can jump in there. I think yeah, referrals are obviously the highest converting, but what it all boils down to at the end of the day is trust, right? Um, and we're seeing that you need to advertise, you need to show your face, speak. Like if you've got an offer there, it converts so much better if there's a video of you speaking. They can
Mm,
see you, they can hear, they could like hear the accent and everything as well. Obviously makes a difference, and that brings back that local side of it as well. um but yeah, that's just trust building, and um that's a huge part of what makes the sale. um and not even just on the front, like it can be on the front end in marketing, but the more touch points the better. Like recently we've been, after people are booking appointments, we've had a video explaining what the next step are, like the person ex- the person who's going to be doing the install actually explaining what the next step is, and what it means is just the show up rate. And yeah, the conversions are just that much higher. At the end of the day, people buy from people, right? So
mhm.
that's kind of where it is.
I mean, people kind of buy people. It's like if you trust your neighbor, like you're going on
Exactly.
Chris's word, right? Like, no, Chris had a good experience, and so I'm gonna do what Chris said. And so yeah, I identify with that for sure. Josh, what do you think?
I mean, the number one thing we can do to drive our referral volume is focus on our NPS, right? To exactly that point, right? To delivering outstanding customer experiences pays off in spades. And so we continue to focus on making sure that we provide outstanding service, advice, advocacy, and follow through with the consumers who come through our platform. We have engaged in certain things on the Energy Sage site, around what we call our customer protection, our consumer protection pledge. We have engaged in what we call kind of our dispute resolution service, if you will, which is inevitably in a relationship between a consumer and a contractor, and in any of the trades, disputes arise, contracts go sideways. We don't get involved in from a legal standpoint, but our energy advisors here do try to um, reconcile a disagreement that turns into a positive experience for the consumer and a positive experience for the installer, which is what keeps our installers on our platform.
Yeah, I think I hear the word customer experience thrown around a lot, not on this call per se, but just always installers and sales orgs. No, we got to give them a good customer experience. But I think sometimes we say it, right? But we don't mean it. So like we're like, what is the actual experience you're getting? And if you're listening to this, if you're not getting referrals as an installer or a sales org, I want you to look at what experience are you giving the consumer? Because if you're giving the consumer an experience like Josh is talking about, like Sam's talking about, like you're their advocate, they're getting, if there's a problem that comes up and you take care of it. I mean, let's just focus on that for a second. Like we all want happy path, cool, happy path. I think you win more hearts and minds when something goes askew, you jump in, you fix it, you make it right, and you do it quickly. Then that person's like, oh, Spence has got my back. Cool. I'm going to give you business because now I trust you. Right. And so I think every installer in sales, or we all have so many opportunities to do this. If you're not getting the referrals that you would like to see, look at your customer experience. What kind of experience are they getting? Reach out to them, follow up with these people, see how you can make their lives better. And then also, the second thing is just like sales 101, just ask, right? You know, and there's a lot of ways to do that. It's a whole nother topic in class we can go on, but just ask for them. And so, cool. Anything else you guys want to talk about on referrals before I move on to the kind of the next question?
It sounded like you were saying you should plot errors there and just plan for errors and then fix them quickly.
I
Uh,
mean, I guess you're going to game it, but
Yeah,
yeah. Uh, Josh, I have a question for you specifically. I mean, I guess it's both for you, but we'll start with you, Josh. When an installer sales dealers are competing on leads, what has the biggest impact on winning the sale?
two things: speed and how well they listen. And I don't think that is, how good a listener you are as a salesperson, I don't think is new to anybody. But the more that they are willing to listen to their customer and sort of tease out what their potential lead really needs, they're going to win.
What would you say is an average sales cycle like somebody that you give to, right? You bring in somebody and you have 3 or 4 installers that are looking at it. Like, what's the sales cycle for you guys?
I mean, it depends. Our consumer, the shoppers will often commit to an installer within sort of 1 to 3 weeks. We consider that sort of almost a closed deal, and the close rate from sort of selecting their installer to install can be, can vary widely. But we think about sort of essentially handing that lead off finally to the installer for an installation that has a high likelihood of actually being installed as soon as 1 week, as long as 3 months, before it really falls off. But 3 to 5 weeks is typically the typical uh, cycle.
Um, if I'm a firm believer in that the sale actually happens in the set, right? So if it's set really well, then you just have someone come in and clean it up. Like, I mean, you just answer questions and go. But you're winning the hearts and mind, getting the trust in the set, right? So if I'm an installer, and Sam will go to you next on this one. If I'm an installer, what are things I should be doing in the set, right? Whether that's online or it's the
Yeah.
first interaction, whatever it is. What are some things that I should be doing that's going to help me with a high close rate and then even higher pull through rate? Because that's what we want. Because we're seeing on our last session that we had, the industry's kind of like normalized the 50% pull through rate, which blows my mind. I'm
Yeah,
like,
it's
oh, it's like,
crazy.
hey, half of our business is
Crazy.
just gonna just disappear. I'm like, well, that was a waste of time. So
Yeah, it
like,
is pretty
what are
mad.
some things there you think?
Yeah, it's interesting that we've just accepted that 50% and haven't pushed through to see how we can get it up. But I think the big ones that we've seen recently are that founder story type of thing, right? That it's the trust again, that's going to make that go from a 50% up to a 70% when people actually see your local and trust, yeah, trust, like hear you and see you and trust you there. So that's a big part that's definitely increased that show up rate. And then also we also think that just as soon as someone books an appointment, we should leave it there. But from an online point of view, anyway, you have their attention there. So why not make them even more excited to go solar, um, and push them into, yeah, learning more about what they're going to be getting and the exact step by step. Make it a full life cycle, so that when you show up at their door for the sales side of it, they're like, brilliant. They swing the door open and they already have the tea and biscuits and German cake waiting for you.
Oh, tea and biscuits. That sounds incredible. Josh, would you add anything to that?
I might challenge that just a little bit, which is, this is now the second marketing organization I've led in my career where the pull through rate's about 50%. And in both cases, the price of entry was $40,000 to $50,000. We used to work in financial services prior to this. So what I would say is, that's the pull through rate with a high degree of marketing and sales involvement. And so
Mm.
what I might sort of challenge instead is, how do we reduce the spend? How do installers reduce their spend and investment on the underqualified leads, right? Changing, getting a consumer ready and comfortable to buy a $50,000 product when, today when they're just not, that's a high hill to climb. And so what I would say is, if we're, I would reduce the resources spent on the underqualified leads.
Mhm.
How would one do that? Because you don't know they're underqualified until a certain point. So are there some practical things that I could be doing as an installer to do that?
So it's very interesting, right? From our standpoint, we rely heavily on our data scientists and BI folks to be able to sort of model the higher intent leads from the lower intent leads. and sort of indicate that to our installer partners. There are a number of factors that go into that sort of modeling, but it's a great use of AI. It's a great use of other more sophisticated data models that we have. But trying to do that with the machines rather than the expensive humans, to the extent possible, is how we go about that.
Yeah. I want to talk about, you guys kind of mentioned this, but I think speed has something to do with both of these comments you've made. Meaning, like, let's say that I don't care what kind of lead it is, but it's speed to contact is what I'm specifically referencing.
Mhm.
Have you guys found kind of like a half-life, with isotopes, for example? You're like, if you wait more than 30 seconds, then you're going to see this. If you wait more than 7 minutes, you're going to see this. If you wait 2 days, you're going to see this. So you guys have any data around that or insights you can share on if I'm an installer or a sales org and the lead comes in? Obviously the answer is as fast as possible, but what are kind of these benchmarks where you're like, if I don't get it to buy this, this is kind of what's going to happen?
Well, isn't it Alex Ramosi has 391% if better conversions if you contact them within the first 10 minutes. Um, yeah, that's one of them there. So usually we'd have dependent on the offer, bots that are studied up on the offer that would message instantly. But yeah, obviously it's a different thing and when
Is
calling the lead. So that's it.
Yeah, is that when we say contact though, is that 10 minutes to have my AI chatbot contact you, or is that 10 minutes to have Chris get on the phone and talk to you?
Well, it could be either. So if you don't have the resources to have someone calling constantly, some of these leads will be coming in late at night and everything like that. Best to obviously it's better if someone picks up the phone and calls them. But if you don't have that option, an AI bot studied up on the exact offer they've come through does the job.
Cool. So you're
Yeah.
saying 10 minutes. What happens if I wait 24 hours? Do you have any insights or data on that? I'm just pulling that
Don't wouldn't
number
have
out
the
of my
data
butt.
on how much that would drop off, but yeah, we wouldn't build to yeah have it message after 30 minutes, but
Let me ask a different question. Maybe it would pull out
yeah.
what I want is after what time frame is it kind of just not a dead lead, but it's kind of like, yeah, you
Yeah,
lost the mojo.
yeah, it's a good question. So kind of really depends on the friction they've gone through and what kind of impression you've made on them. Like if we're talking about a lead that's just auto-filled their information from a lead form, they'll probably like what is it, goldfish have a 12 or is it 6 minute memory? So I'd say we're talking similar to that with those autofills, you know what I mean? But if you're putting them into an experience and they're hearing you talk and everything, then that lead's going to stay warmer for a lot longer.
And Josh, what would you add to that?
So we do a couple of different things. So first of all, we really don't do any outbound calling or
Correct.
outbound contacting. So, but what we do is try to satisfy the shopper in the moment, the homeowner in the moment. So, just over a year ago, we launched what we call essentially an auto quoting feature, which allows installers in our platform to provide a nearly instantaneous quote to a shopper as they right after they have signed up, right in the platform. They don't even need to essentially go back to their email. It is happening in that same session on our site. So that's increased our close rates significantly, and not all of our installers have adopted sort of our auto quoting feature, but those that have seen their win rates go up significantly. Um, Related to that, even if they're not sort of doing that, we typically deliver all of our quotes to a shopper within 36-ish hours. 48 maybe is the max. So on our platform, most shoppers will get 3 to 5 quotes from installers in less than a day and a half. So that speed is super important to keeping them engaged and giving them, and those that don't get to the leads that quickly are essentially nowhere in the consideration set.
All right. So what I'm hearing from you is someone comes in, I come into Energy Sage. Okay. ask my questions, do my stuff, and I'm like, hey, I want to learn more. And I get paired up with a couple of installers, right? And I'm looking at it. If they contact me within 24 to 36 hours, it's still pretty hot, right? And I can keep moving forward from that perspective.
Yeah, well, so for us in particular, right, the promise that we are providing to consumers is the opportunity to comparison shop, right?
Yeah.
And so being first to contact them certainly makes an impression, and that does matter, right?
Yeah.
That definitely does matter. But what we find is the shoppers sort of wait because we've said we're going to give you multiple quotes. So the shoppers will wait until I've got 2, 3, 4 to then come back and be able to look at what their options are.
Okay.
It's just how our model operates differently.
I like this. I really like that we have the two different models, and I hope everybody's like indexing and noticing this. And just kind of like to recap, Sam, with your business, when you guys are going out and selling the chocolate cake, right? Like someone, if you get a lead that you're selling to someone online, PPC, things like that, Facebook, whatever it is, like get to them within 10 minutes or less, right?
Yeah.
And if you're getting these if these are inbound leads that are coming in, these are people that are looking, that are buying, right? Um, they've probably done more education. They probably have already a quote or something, and so they're more methodical in going through this process, and it feels like it might be a less emotional sell and more of a pragmatic sell, right, on these things. And I think, and to the installers and the sales orgs listening to this is both approaches are needed, right? We're going to have inbound traffic that comes to us. What do we do with it? How do we monetize it? When do we contact them? How do we contact them? Right. On the flip side, like we need to go out and hunt, right? And not just wait for everybody to come to us. And if we're doing that, that customer profile is different. And so really what I encourage all you all to do is look at the data that you have, wherever you're getting that from, whether that's from us or somewhere else, and look at your different campaigns, inbound, outbound, how they're interacting, when they fall off, how they pull through, what are the impeding factors or limiting factors that are impeding you from getting higher pull through rate, and really dissect that. And this is all plays in tandem with what we've been talking about for the last 2 hours, which is data, right? So we need to arm ourselves with data. Sam and his company, Josh and his company, they all have really great data, right? And I think any good lead provider will have data that you can see that says, hey, we'll show you what works, what's not working. Let's focus on what's working. We have 1 minute left. I wanted to talk about AI because you guys were both talking about it, but we touched on it a little bit, but there are a couple questions here. I'm going to pull them up. I have 2 questions. Number 1, it's what other products will Energy Sage be offering leads for in addition to solar? So I want to give that one real fast.
Sure. We are offering we're providing leads for storage only. We're seeing a lot of either storage only or sort of post solar storage interest. Our heat pump marketplace is sort of open and available nationwide, so we're doing that. We are partnered with our sister company Qmerit, and which is driving EV charger installations across the country. So leads that come in through Energy Sage are interested in sort of standalone EV charger installations or charger installations paired with their solar.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this brings up another point. We're running out of time on this, but it's battery only, like going back and attaching battery to previous solar jobs. Is that something, and we'll have to be brief, but is that something that you guys would both spend time and effort on for marketing and for marketing for new leads and new prospects? And if so, why?
Sam, do you want to go?
Yeah, just specifically battery only or maintenance and everything, that side of it as well, right?
Sure.
It's kind of kind of all in one where you've got the data, like the lead list. There should definitely be campaigns, at least email campaigns, reaching back out to them and yeah,
All
adding.
my current customers that don't have a battery, I should
Absolutely.
be on top of it. I should have drip campaigns. I should be trying to work them and get them to do that because that's easy money. That's what you're saying.
100% free leads. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just sitting there.
Josh, anything you would add on that?
We are spending time on it. I think the biggest challenge for both of those things, for battery, for service, is I don't think the industry has cracked how to make this significantly profitable, right? The challenges in particular is providers not wanting to touch someone else's previous work. Right? Like that is a challenge we've got to figure out how to overcome, and whether that's with pricing or with messaging or training or more standardization or whatever it might be. I think that's a challenge to those two lines of business as growth opportunities. It's just resistance to touching somebody else's previous work.
I've had a lot of those conversations, and that's spot on. So really, first start with your own, right? In-house, hit those really hard. And then as you're going through, you're going to have to answer these questions for yourself. Is that the liability? Is that something I want to take on? And if so, how do you do it and mitigate your risk, right? So until Rebecca comes back and kicks us off, I'm going to ask one more question about, wasn't about AI. Gosh dang it. I just had it here. I'm going to pull it up on my chats. I'm going to see. Oh, I get this all the time on software. People are like, create my own software, pay for software, right? Create my own leads, like do my own internal PPC, do my own online SEO campaigns, things like that. So basically doing what you guys both do, or paying for you guys to do it for them. Give me a quick rapid fire, one pro and con for each one. Sam, you start, and then Josh, you go, and then we'll end.
Well, I would say the pro is that it's kind of data, really, isn't it? So myself and Josh have companies that have ridiculous amounts of data on what's actually performing. And yeah, you can kind of leverage that without having to pump resources into it to get that data. And then the pros on it are probably on the customer service side, where it's all in-house, and yeah, you can advertise that side of it.
Cool. Josh, you rapid fire.
Yeah, I think it depends on, as a business owner, what do you want the core competencies of your small to medium-sized business to be, right? This is a complex industry from end to end, and being good at everything is really hard and really expensive. So, unless you're going to have the scale to build these functions in-house, right? It very often, if not almost always, makes sense to outsource the things you don't need to have in-house to be successful.
Yep, I agree with that. So that's my plug to all the listeners out there. If you are large enough and have the resources and the time and the expertise and can actually do that, it's not worth dollars or stepping over dollars to get dimes. Hire someone and partner with someone really that you can have great conversations with, that you can get great data from, that can go do those things for you. That's not your core competency. Thanks you guys so much for your time.
Thank you so much again for a great session. We have a few more going today, so be sure to tune back in. And if you're not able to watch things live, come back and watch the recorded versions.
Till next time. See you guys later.
Thanks so much, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Amazing. Cheers.